All right. Hello, everyone. First off, I just want to say, one, thank you very much to the Live Coders community. I'm a relatively new member to the Live Coders community, and I love everything that you do. I love everything that you stand for. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. As you can probably hear, there's some storms rolling through for the next couple of days, so it's getting pretty crazy out there. But hopefully we'll be okay as we kind of get along. I love that I get to see everyone. I'm seeing a lot of people that I love and admire in the chat. So. One, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you Live Coders for having me and giving me the opportunity to do this. Today, we're going to be talking about DevOps, and we're going to do it live, the movie trailer edition. I know it's a cryptic title. I'm going to let you know right now, the only reason that we are doing this, not that we're doing the talk, but the movie trailer edition is because people who watch my stream know I purchased a Go XLR mixer, which I do not know how to use properly, but it's got some cool features and I needed a reason to finally use it. So that's what we'll be doing today. So let's get started. First things first, you know, a lot of you probably heard this already, but I want you to know who you're hearing from. I'm getting to know you. I want you to get to know me a little bit. But my name is Aaron Brooks. You can in fact call me Aaron. Not a problem at all. I'm a DevOps engineer and a technical lead. Currently, I work at a software company called Fearless, but I also run my own company now called Mastermnd. But I have about 9 years of industry experience. It can get a little weird when you are trying to figure out, you know, which years you're talking about that actually attribute to the roles that you're currently doing. But about 9 years of industry experience. I think that's a little bit important when talking about certain technical topics, talking about the industry, just to give you some context about possibly what I've seen, what I've been through. As we're kind of going through these things. I love cars. I love motorsports in particular. I don't really love cars for their beauty. I love cars for their functionality, for what they do. I think each car is a tool. I think I tell people I like motorsports, which I really do love motorsports. You know, the goal right now in life is to, you know, get myself a nice truck and a trailer and go do some racing. But I also, you know, I love off-road vehicles and things. I like purpose-built machines. I like biking as well. So yeah, I currently drive a nitrous blue Focus RS. I throw that in there purely because I can't make up my mind. So I switch up a lot on what I'm driving. So as we kind of go through these things, I like to keep people, you know, up to date on what I am currently driving. I'm an overly competitive but extremely average gamer. Currently, me and some friends are playing Call of Duty Warzones a lot. We play a lot. I'm getting pretty good, but I've only won a single game. Also playing a little bit of Valorant. I game stream once in a blue moon over at Stone Cold Stream Austin. I throw that out there just for fun. One day we were sitting down thinking of stream names, came up with that one, had to get it. And, you know, not really in use, but if you want to go follow, feel free, go follow. I'm a beer fan. I love stouts and I also love porters. You know, I prefer dark beers, but I really like, I like most beers. There's not a lot that I don't like, to be honest, when it comes to beers. I'm trying to drink a little bit less of them now. I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I wish I was a fighter pilot. People always ask, what would you be doing if you weren't doing what you're currently doing? I would like to be a fighter pilot. I wish I was a fighter pilot. Too big for a jet cockpit. But you know, go check out my stream if you want to hear the stories about that. Also, in a single year, you will not be able to tell me apart from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm on the road to becoming exactly like him. You know, he's inspiring. I think he's like 50 years old now, and you know, we're on a journey ourselves, and just give us some time. You know, I'm check back in a year, and I'm gonna hop on stream. You're gonna be like, whoa, when did The Rock learn tech? And there we go. And you can follow me on all social media platforms at Mastermnd.io. That's all of them: LinkedIn, Facebook, everything at Mastermnd.io. Twitter and here on Twitch are probably the best places. Now, that's enough about me. What are you here for and what are you in for? You know, the title is a little bit cryptic, but what are you here for? So I love DevOps, and I know not a lot of people can say that, but I love DevOps, and I love what you can achieve with it. But I know how frustrating it can be to understand, one, what DevOps is and what it can do. If you ask 20 people what the definition of DevOps is or what their definition of DevOps is, you will get 20 different answers. So I know that there are vague, inconsistent definitions, and I know that the massive amount of tooling that enables DevOps makes it very intimidating. It is extremely intimidating, and hopefully today we'll make it a little less intimidating, you know, as we kind of run through what we're going to run through. So I'm here to provide, I hope at the end of the day, that you have a good understanding of what DevOps is as a culture. And we're going to talk about that. Example of how you can combine these tools to solve real world problems. And hopefully, you know, you're listening to my read through of my audition for the next Transformers movie trailer. You know, that's with the purely for use with the Go XLR. I don't know anything about them. I just know that they gave me a cool FX button and I intend to use it today. So that's why we're here. So let's get started. Let's see, you know, I also have a Stream Deck, which I barely use properly. So we're gonna see if we can get this working. Let's roll trailer number 1. Go, there we go. They come from 2 different worlds, hired for the same goals, but they have different motivations. Tensions will be high. When the systems go down, the titans will clash. Who is to blame? This summer, get ready for the motion picture event of the year. I went a little too fast there, but we'll wait. Prod is on fire. All right, so I used the button, finally. I used it, but Prod's on fire. And this is the story basically of how software development is kind of done right now, as is, or you know, at a lot of places. You know, every place isn't perfect, but generally in the software development world, there's been a little bit of a disconnect. There's been a weird paradigm shift here, but DevOps is really about breaking down silos. Generally, developers would develop software and toss it over the proverbial wall. You can see the code dynamite there, the code grenade there, and toss it over to operations. And when I said in the trailer that these people had 2 different motivations, dev's motivation is to get new features out. Dev's motivation is to create new things as fast as possible, really. An ops job and ops motivation is to have systems be up and reliable and scalable and maintainable. So stability is really the key there. And so they're they've been at odds in the past. And you know, with the evolution of technology, we're able to move much faster. And so the worlds have kind of collided a little bit. So what is DevOps? According to Wikipedia. So DevOps, according to Wikipedia, is a clip compound of the word development and operations. We all know that doesn't make any sense. That tells us absolutely nothing. It's a software development methodology that combines software development with information technology. Useless, absolutely useless definition. So what is the better version? And this is from a fine fellow in the DevOps space. He's pretty well known in the DevOps space. Nothon Harvey. His name might have an E in it instead of an A. Sorry, Nathan, if I got that wrong. This was when he was at Chef. I use this all the time. A lot of people have seen me say this, but this is a definition that I really subscribe to. DevOps is a cultural and professional movement that focuses on how we build and operate high velocity organization. And the last line, I didn't bold it, but I probably should have bolded it, but it's born from the experiences of its practitioners. This is one of the reasons also, if you're someone looking to get into DevOps, if you've been trying to figure out what DevOps is, it's difficult because it's born from the experience of its practitioners. The people who created, the way that you operate in it was born from people's experiences. And if you haven't quite had those experiences yet, it's tough to kind of understand the use cases, the things that are great about it, but hopefully we're going to uncover some of those things today. The problems that DevOps attempts to solve is traditionally when you're not operating in a paradigm like this, and again, this is not the end all be all, this is not the right way to do things, but a lot of the way people operate with software development now is it takes a long time to release things, and the feedback cycles take a long time. So it takes a long time to get a feature out, and it takes a long time to understand if that feature was effective or not. And so DevOps attempts to fix that. There's a long mean time to fix. So once something is out there, if there are any infrastructure issues, any issues with the applications, because the pipelines and processes aren't in place, it takes a long time to fix things, or generally longer. You're generally more reactive to production issues. Prod's on fire right now, and you're generally reacting to that rather than being proactive about those things that can cause issues. And this is the biggest one to me, at least, that few or no people understand the entire software development lifecycle implementation. And so these are just all the things that go into being able to build a piece of software. And this is what causes the most, and this is the communications breakdown. DevOps really does try to address the communication problem. And when not everyone understands, there can be huge issues when you're trying to deploy things. And so that's a big problem that DevOps tries to solve. And then it creates an adversarial IT environment. Again, there are people whose goal is to push new features, and then there are people whose goal is to make sure those features are up and stable. And again, those things can be at odds, and it creates an adversarial IT environment, which is problematic for everyone. So what are some of the DevOps key principles? And hopefully I'm trying to pace myself. I think we're going to stay right on time. The DevOps key principles, there are a lot more principles than this, but these to me are the key ones. These are the major keys that I think you need to worry about. And that's one, break down silos. And by breaking down silos, we're talking about getting people out of like, this is not my job. We're talking about, you know, pulling down these proverbial walls in between different departments so that you can create solutions that are effective for everyone. You all are working towards the same goal, but working independently, again, with your own motivations, breaking down these silos, creating methods for communication, creating methods for insight and for access is what DevOps tries to do. The second tenet, and this is the one that people are usually thinking about when they think about DevOps, and it is a very important one, and this is where most of the tools come into play, but automate all of the things. We love to automate things. Humans are fallible. We make mistakes. And we're a little bit lazy, to be honest. So the goal is to automate yourself out of a job, is to automate as much as you can because that makes things more consistent. It usually makes things a bit faster as well, or a lot faster as well. And the last one's a big one, is that failure is an opportunity to learn. Why would this one be in here? Why would you want to even think about failure when you're pushing software? Again, humans are fallible. We make mistakes all the time. You will make mistakes. You will push, like every developer, if you develop, you are going to create a bug one day. You're going to create problems. But failure is an opportunity to learn. Because of DevOps, because of the pipelines, it means that we can always improve our processes. It means that we can always improve our flow. It doesn't mean that someone is incapable. It means that we have not put in place guardrails. It means that we have not done the right things to make our stuff as robust as it could be. But every failure is an opportunity to learn and to get better and to change things. And that is very, very important. All right. So if DevOps is a culture and everyone's like, man, well, I thought DevOps was someone who did infrastructure automation in the cloud, and I thought DevOps was basically sysadmin in the cloud. I thought it was a developer who managed some servers. Sure, all of those things could be DevOps. Again, DevOps is a culture, but it's a culture that's enabled by tooling. So it's not a job. It's not a job that you do. It is a culture enabled by tooling, and this is where people focus most of their time, and it's a valid focus point. You can see here by this list, there are a lot of DevOps tools, a lot of tools which are considered to be DevOps tools. They're all tools solve a problem. A hammer solves a specific problem or problems. A screwdriver, solves a specific issue. Whatever tool solves a specific thing. And that's what each of these tools do. At the top, you'll see a pipeline basically that says collaborate, build, test, deploy, run. We're going to look at a little, the infinity loop that everyone looks at to talk about these processes. But these are the kind of mainstays of DevOps. These are the places you try to hit to determine if you're on a pretty good journey. These are good places to go. Not necessary in every pipeline, but these are kind of the places that you want to go. And we're going to talk about some of these as well. But you can see there are a lot of tools here, and it can be very overwhelming. The goal when you're learning this stuff, if you want to dive into DevOps, is not to learn all these tools. The goal is to learn a single tool in each of the categories that solves a specific problem. All these tools right here do the same thing. All these tools right here do the same thing. So, you want to learn what problems those things solve, and then you can pick up any tool after that. So we're going to use a couple tools today in a second, but DevOps is a culture that is enabled by tooling. Process, pipelines, and feedback loops. This is why DevOps is important. This is what you're creating. If you're not doing, the technical thing, you're supposed to be creating these processes, pipeline, and feedback loop, so that developers, your client, your customer is really the developers. As a DevOps engineer, when you're practicing DevOps, you're really trying to serve the devs. So you want to put in tools, you want to put in processes, pipelines, and feedback loops, which is going to be information you can get, after deployment or about the state of your application that can help you affect change, that can help you make decisions about the next flow. And so, movie trailer number 2. Let's roll trailer. Let's see, we can get this one. There we go. A utopia. A world where everything is balanced and automated, just as all things should be. Imagine what could happen if we actually talked to each other and created pipelines and processes that actually solved our problems. This summer, get ready for another, motion event picture of the year. Prod's still on fire, but we can fix it quickly and confidently. Now, that's probably not what you were expecting in that movie trailer. The ending of fixing it quickly and confidently, Prod still being on fire. Again, DevOps is not always the answer. And DevOps is not this magic bullet that will make things just work and be great all the time. But what it does allow you to do is to, again, focus on the pipelines, focus on the things that you can do to be able to push, move forward as quickly and confidently as possible. And so let's find out how to do that. We have all of the tools, we have the time, let's do it live. And we're gonna run through, we're not gonna read all the stuff in these slides, we're gonna run through really fast. One of the main tenets of DevOps is infrastructure as code. People talk about infrastructure as code all the time in terms of DevOps. One of the biggest reasons why we can even perform DevOps is one, because of the cloud. And two, because of things like this. Almost everything today can be codified. Infrastructure as code is basically being able to write machine readable files to give you real world tangible cloud computing assets or computing assets. Imagine if you could go into a car dealership and give them a file that says, hey, I want a red Ford with leather seats, with, you know, a manual transmission, and it needs to be a 7-seater, and hand them that and they roll out a car to you. That's exactly what you get. That's exactly what infrastructure as code is, and we're going to see that. We talked about some of this just now, but some of the things that you get out of it is, again, speed and consistency. Also free documentation. If I write a file that says, hey, I want a red car, I can always get a red car if I ever need it. And this free documentation, it's kind of telling you what you, you know, I don't need to go write some extra documentation about it. Someone can come in and look and say, hey, I know your infrastructure consists of a red car with leather seats. And then one of the biggest things is right here. You can manage your infrastructure. You can do your ops, basically. You can do the ops in DevOps the same way that you manage your code for your application. So you can manage it in the same way that devs manage their code. And that really is a valuable prospect. CI is a common term in DevOps. It's a big piece of it, continuous integration. It's basically a paradigm in ensuring that you know that your code still works. It's taking code from disparate places, from a distributed system, and putting it together and ensuring that it still works. We're going to do some continuous integration. Continuous delivery is taking that code, building out some of your tangible artifacts to deliver, but it's not actually delivering them. And most people don't separate this. You probably hear CI, CD. CI is that continuous integration. CD is usually continuous delivery, where you build out, you know, you build a Docker container, or you package up your code and you build a zip file for it to be placed somewhere. But there is this continuous deployment aspect, which people are usually talking about. It's a very difficult place to get to, but we are going to do all that right now, because we have about, I think we're going to be able to do it just fine. So luckily I was going to do the code live, and, you know, we always go over time on my stream. So, you know, I took that into account. I learned from my mistakes. I paid attention to those tight feedback loops. And so I did the code already, but we're going to run through it really quick. So we are a new company, and we have a great website where people can go to find out about all of the dope stuff that we're doing. We need to go deploy it, but we want to practice DevOps. We want to make sure that we are having some consistency. We're setting ourselves up for success. And so here we have two folders. We have an infrastructure folder, and we have this bucket.tf file. And so this is the infrastructure as code piece that we're talking about. What I have in this file is, in Amazon Web Services, that's what we're going to be using today. We can define resources that we would like from Amazon in this file, the exact way we would like them configured, and we will submit this to Amazon. We're going to be using a tool today called Terraform really quick, and we can submit that to Amazon, and they will provide us back those resources. So first, I want you to see what we have at the top. There's just a little section saying, hey, we're going to be using Amazon as our provider and setting up some defaults here for us. And it's not important that you know this code or see this code and understand the code, but I want you to start to see that we're really just describing things. We're really configuring things rather than doing any kind of crazy coding. And so I'm saying, hey, I want an S3 bucket, and I want it to have this name, LCC Do It Live. And I want it to be publicly readable. And, you know, I want to give it some tags so I can find it. And all the other things here are just things in support of having a publicly accessible website from Amazon's S3. But we're just going to use Terraform really quick, and I'll show you how easy it is. I'm going to do a Terraform Terraform. You know, people know I can't type. Terraform in it. So I'm going to initialize this, get Terraform set up. Terraform is a great tool for infrastructure as code, specifically infrastructure provisioning. Check it out, whether or not you know Amazon or Azure or Google Cloud Platform, or you're dealing with locally, you're dealing with some VMs locally with VMware or something. It's a great tool that will allow you to provision resources on any of those and manage them on any of those. So it's set up, it's ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Terraform apply. And what this is going to do is going to read in the file, and it's going to reach out to Amazon and say, hey, what do you have? This is the way that this file says you should be. What can we do about that? And it goes through and it lets us know, hey, I have one thing to add. This person says they want a bucket named LCC do it live. You know, I don't see it here. I'm going to make that for you. Is that okay? I'm going to type in yes. And we're going to give it just a few seconds. And just like that, using this code, we're going to have actual web infrastructure created pretty quickly, which is really nice. It's going to be a bucket out there, and it's going to be available for us to check out and to be able to serve static websites from at our will. But while that's creating, actually, I'll let it. It'll take, usually doesn't take very long, about 30 seconds total. So maybe only one more of these still creatings. But what we also have is we have a cool site over here. Let's close this one. We have a little site which is a Hugo website. Hugo is a static site generator that I like to use. I'm a big fan of Go, no secret there. But what we can do is it has a little bit of a build process to be able to generate these static images. But what we did do is before this, I did create a nice little CI/CD pipeline. So I set up a pipeline that could enable us to have a little bit of consistency and be able to deploy things at speed and again quickly and confidently. So we're gonna take a look really quick at a .circle CI config. So I'm going to be using Circle CI for this. It's another tool. Don't sweat that. If you're trying to learn DevOps, this is the same tool that does the same thing that Jenkins does, that Travis CI does, that GitHub Actions does. They all do the same thing. They allow you to automate some of your build processes and be able to deliver an artifact for you to deploy. And so in here, I have some scripts, and really this is mostly like a Docker file because they use Docker for the building. So there's some Linux commands in here, etc., that are going to basically help us build what we need and put it actually in that do it live bucket. So let's go over here really quick and see if we're done. Oh no, we have an invalid resource. So this is what happens when you do it live. Let's check this out really quick. S3 policy, website resource line 7. Let's see what we have. Resource S3 bucket. Or saying there's already something there because I deployed something before. Let's see. This is what happens when you do it live. It's okay though. What doesn't it like? Terraform validate. No biggie if we don't get this right. See, it's valid. This is an S3 policy problem. Hold on. Let's do this really quick. 1 second. Copy. ... I have another folder back here. I'm still gonna beat the clock. Just don't worry. Maybe I'm not. I didn't realize what time it was, but let me see if I can beat the clock really quick. CD ... Let's go into live. All right, here we go. Let's try to do this really quick because I tested this before. I'm going to go ahead and there's a bucket that's already available actually. And so that's nice. We can just use that real quick so I can show you, because I can push an update there, no problem. I'm going to show you a bucket that's already available. I'm going to give you a link really quick. S3. So I have this static website for our amazing company that we love. It is called DevOps Will Do It Live. And let me give you the link super quick. And we will push an update in a second. Static website. We'll click that. I'll share it with you. If you want to go there and see that we have an error here. It says DevOps will do it live. It's a problem. Our feedback loops, our systems catch it. We're doing some monitoring. It says, hey, DevOps will do it live. This is a problem, but we're not worried about that. Prod's on fire, but we can in fact fix it. And I'm going to go back one, and I'm going to go into live. It's going to happen super fast. Live website. and I'm going to Vim. Let's go to test. And I'm going to Vim it really quick. And this is the actual correct code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's pushing to the right place really quick. And I'm going to try to push the actual thing that we did. So DevOps. We'll do it live. Get status. And we'll end the talk, but you'll see it update live in a second. Get add, get commit -m, the best commit message. Fixed it. And get, oh wait, what? I didn't change anything. Config. 1 second. Almost there. Now. R add. R commit. Git push. Oh, okay, didn't work out for us, but what we were going to show you is that we could use a couple tools to basically automate the flow and the workflow of our process. We were going to use a tool called Circle CI to push code automatically, to build it, to make sure that it was right, and to get those things into the bucket. But we did it live. It didn't really work. No big deal. If anyone's interested in learning more about DevOps, learning more about these processes, and seeing a real pipeline that is correct, we're actually going to be running a series called Pipelines, where we're going to be diving into a journey through software delivery, automation, and infrastructure on the channel. Check it out. We do stuff like this all the time. We're also running things for software development and cloud computing specifically. One's called Decoded. One is called Horizons. We are finishing those up this week. We're actually doing 2 panels this week. Check us out if you're interested. Also, again, thank you for the live coders. Thank you for everyone who's donating to Black Girls Code. It's an amazing organization. I highly encourage you to donate to be able to give people like me an opportunity to do exactly what I do. So that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and I'll pass it back over to our host.